In the comment section of one of my recent videos, a viewer asked me, how did you let go of your sentimental clutter? And I realized, wow, all this talk about decluttering on this channel, and I have actually never made a video about this. So in today's video, I'm going to share everything you need to know about how to let go of sentimental items. When we transition towards a more minimalist lifestyle, we might start with decluttering our home and sorting through our things. And then sooner or later, we are going to come across some sentimental items. For many of us, this is the most challenging category of clutter, items that hold meaning and stories and memories and emotions. And the simple questions that we can ask ourselves when we are deciding if we want to keep something suddenly don't work anymore. Do I use this, for example, suddenly doesn't work anymore when trying to decide about your childhood plushies or your grandfather's ring or that special souvenir that you bought on that special trip. So it can be really difficult to move forward and to clear this hurdle. In this video, I've collected all my tips about how to deal with sentimental clutter so that you can finally move forward and keep only the ones that are truly adding value for you. And this is one of the things I talk about in my decluttering ebook as well. So if you'd like some more inspiration for how to declutter your home, you can check that out. Link is in the description. I want to start this video by being very clear about something. Ready? Minimalism does not mean that you have to get rid of your sentimental items. It is not a club that you can only join after you've downsized to the bare minimum. I consider myself to be a very sentimental person, and I get tears in my eyes at the smallest emotional cues, even if it is a commercial. And I have some things that I keep around simply because I've attached meaning to them, and that's all right. Another thing to consider is that unlike with many other objects, these items are often irreplaceable. That means that if you come to regret your decision of letting them go, there's usually not a way to go back in time and get the item again. So that's another reason that we get to be really mindful when decluttering this category of items. But something to ask yourself is, do these items still continually bring you joy? And I think it is important to make sure that these items that we are keeping around our space do still fulfill their purpose, which is assisting us in our joy and our happiness. And it can also be really valuable to let go of some of these items that we have kept around for a while for sentimental or emotional reasons. If they really stop providing value for us, it can be a great way to kind of let go of past experiences or process things that happened, and therefore also be open to opening up new chapters in your life, because you cannot really move forward to something new if you have one foot stuck in the past. Know the difference between the items that are really worth keeping or the items that can be categorized as sentimental clutter. When it comes to dealing with sentimental clutter, the number one thing that we need to train and practice is the ability to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. So to really know the difference of the items that are really worth keeping around and the items that can be categorized as literal emotional baggage. When the items that have a lot of value are kind of buried beneath all the other sentimental items that don't mean as much to you, it is harder to fully appreciate them as they are. So do take the time to go through these items one by one and try to only keep the ones that are truly special for you. A simple example of this can be cards. Most people save the cards that they've received, greeting cards, holiday cards, birthday cards, probably somewhere in a box. And what you could do is actually sort through them and keep only the special ones, because probably 9 out of 10 are more generic in the form of happy birthday, love, or happy holidays, love, And if you ask me, as sweet as it was from these people to send you a card, these generic ones can be recycled so that you can only keep the really special ones and actually look through them once in a while. Set either a maximum amount you want to keep or a certain size box. A very practical way to help yourself sort through all these items and make sure that you are actually being critical of what you're keeping and what's not important is to give yourself some sort of limit. So either give yourself a maximum number of items that you want to keep, or give yourself a maximum space to store them in. So maybe 1 or 2 storing boxes that you can then fill up with your favorites. For me, I decided on 1 bin for my childhood papers, so things like artwork, drawings, friendship diaries, things from elementary school, report cards, And I have one box for my childhood plushies because I still cannot really seem to part with them. And I just filled them up with my favorites and I got rid of the rest. And it's a great help to make sure that your sentimental items are not clogging up your home and your storage areas. There's lots more coming up, but first, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Vera, and on this channel I make videos about minimalism, intentional living, happiness, and self-care. So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to do so down below so you won't miss my new videos. And if you want more, you can always join us at patreon.com/simplehappyzen. Patreon is a different platform where I post exclusive videos, and they are very different from the videos I post here on YouTube. So they are much more casual, more personal, and I like to discuss all kinds of things, so not just minimalism related content. So if you want to join, you can go to patreon.com/simplehappyzen. Don't dive in head first. Decluttering is a skill, which means that you can become better at it with practice. So if you start with the more easy things to sort through, then you will get better at it and you will become more equipped to handle the emotional side of dealing with sentimental items. If you have more random clutter still in your home of the other categories, then I recommend tackling them first. And then if you feel ready to go a level deeper, your sentimental items will be there for you. Do it together or alone, depending on what fits for you. Some people on YouTube talk about decluttering with someone else, and while I do think that that can be great advice for some people, it might not be the best fit for everyone. For me personally, I love to declutter together with my boyfriend when it comes to the more practical things. So, do we still need this pan? Yes or no? Do we still use it? Yes or no? Things like that. But when it comes to the more sentimental items, I like to go through that process alone. So try to think what works better for you, and maybe it's also a question of being introverted or extroverted. So try to find the option that works best for you. If you find that you often get stuck because you can't really decide on one object, so you kind of just abandon the whole thing altogether, then I do think it can be really nice to invite a friend or a family member to help you out, because they can help you to kind of separate the feeling from the item itself. Remember that we could attach meaning to literally anything. If we really want to, any object in our home could have a story that we use to justify to keep it around. So I know this pen doesn't really work anymore, but I used to write with this when I landed my first job. Or I know this dress doesn't fit anymore, but I used to wear it when I was still in a relationship with that person, etc., etc. I don't say this to be mean, but I do think that we need to be real with ourselves. Some items are truly special, yes, but don't fall into the trap of assigning artificial meaning to something just because we are reluctant to give it up. We do not need to keep everything around. Take pictures or digitize. I've talked about this before, so I'm going to keep it brief, but sometimes it can really help to take a picture of an item before you let it go, or if there is some way that you can scan it and digitize it, because then you won't have to keep the actual item around. It will not keep up space in your home, but you will still know that you can look at it whenever you want. Now, don't go crazy taking hundreds of photos, because digital clutter is also a thing. Try to keep 1 or 2 photos of an object, or if you really want to go all out, take some video footage. Take your time. If it gets to be too much, stop and get back to it tomorrow. I also think that with this category of clutter, it is important to take your time. Don't feel like you have to rush it. And if you ever feel like you're stuck and you are incapable of making any decision anymore, I would suggest to just leave it be and get back to it tomorrow when you feel like your head is screwed on right again. Is the emotion positive or negative? Another way that you can look at this is to really examine the emotion that the item makes you feel and to assess whether it is mostly positive or mostly negative. And for me, I think that life is just too short to keep items around in my space where I spend so much of my time that make me feel badly. And I always say on the channel, guilt alone is never a good enough reason to hang on to something. Actually display them. If it's an item that you are unsure about, try to actually display it in your home for a while and see how it makes you feel. I think we have a lot of these items that we think we keep around because someday we might want to display it, but someday never becomes today, and we usually just keep these items in a box somewhere, and that's just a waste. If you display the item and you find that it brings you joy every time you look at it, then great. And if you find that it doesn't really have any magic for you, then you will know it's time to let it go. Or repurpose some of these items. Now, I am actually not that handy and I feel like I kind of have two left hands, but if you are into the whole DIY thing, you could think about making it into something that you could actually use. And I have seen so many wonderful comments from people in the comment section saying that they did this, so feel free to get really creative with your sentimental items. Pass it along. Sometimes it can also just be really helpful to know that your item is being used and enjoyed by someone else, even if it's someone you don't know personally. So if it is possible and you feel comfortable, you could think about passing it along, and there have been quite a few items for me that I would not have felt comfortable parting with until I decided to pass them along to someone else. If you're storing for others, let them know and pass it along as well. Speaking of which, if you are storing sentimental items for others, for example your kids, then try to make a game plan, because you are not responsible for storing other people's stuff, in most cases anyway. And so at least let them know that you have it, ask them to come over and actually look at this stuff to see if they really care about it. And if they do, maybe they can bring it with them to their home, or at least part of it. Or if they don't care about it, maybe you can get rid of it for them. Or if they don't have space for that stuff, but they do really want to keep it and you decide to keep it for now in your home, then at least try to come up with a deadline that they can get their stuff back. Be kind but firm. If you decide you want to keep something, really keep it. But if you don't, then really get rid of it. So try not to just move things from one storage place to another. Really, decluttering is about getting some of these things actually out of your home. Items from loved ones who aren't with us anymore. Lastly, I want to address the items that we keep from loved ones that are not with us anymore. And firstly, I think it is important to give things as much time as they need. And you don't have to go through these items if you're still very much in a grieving process. So don't force yourself to go through these items if you don't feel ready. When you do feel that you are ready, you can ask yourself some questions. You know that you love this person, and you know that they loved you, and your decision whether or not to keep an item will not diminish that in any way. And this person wanted you to be happy, and keeping an item around in your space that is weighing you down is not part of that. So there's that. But if the item actually makes you happy, or if it reminds you of that person, absolutely keep it around. I share some decluttering questions to ask yourself that you haven't heard before in this video, and I think they can really help to move past some of the mental and emotional blocks. So I will leave that video for you in the description box as well as right there. Now let me ask you, what are your best tips for decluttering sentimental items? Please leave them in the comment section down below, because I love to read your stories and then we can inspire each other. If you've enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Right here I have a video with tips for how to get rid of stuff you don't need anymore. And right here are some decluttering secrets for amazing results. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below. Have a wonderful week and I will see you soon. Bye bye.